Glenda Carr, welcome back to the Lurie Daniel Favor Show. Happy New Year, friend.
Well, it's a new year.
It's a new year, and we are going to be happy in it, okay?
I am choosing happy every day, but it's.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Let's talk midterms. We are solidly in that space, and there are some folks who say, "Child, are they even happening?" Like, would the midterms happen? Do you think that they did this thing in Minneapolis so that they caused people to riot so he could do insurrection acts, so the midterms don't even happen? Glenda, you actually have your pulse on the heartbeat of what's happening here in ways that a lot of us need. Talk to us about your thoughts on the midterms and our concerns and how we should prepare.
Yeah, I think we left 2025, understanding a little bit about the electorate, right? So people came out, they voted. On the Democratic side, you saw a wave, right? They elected two Democrats to governorships,
Yep.
including, and they were women, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And first women in both of those states, Virginia and New Jersey, and then we left the year at higher heights excited about like local elections, and we saw a slew of Black women mayors, right? So I think people are understanding the importance of digging into our democracy at the local level.
Hmm.
So we saw obviously in Detroit, a major city, elected a Black woman as mayor, first woman ever. But then we saw Syracuse, New
Right.
York, Albany, New York, Kansas City, Kansas, elect Black women as mayors. And so they all showed up on our Shirley Chisholm Sisters to Watch list. We followed, Black women running and leading all across the country. And so we left the 2025 behind, recognizing that Black women every single day are filing to run for office in the midterms, including on December 8th. Jasmine Crockett made an announcement that she's running for U.S. Senate in Texas. Right. And so the question becomes our first midterms, federal midterm elections, the primaries start in March. That's just a month and what,
Wow.
2 months away. I think it's March 3rd is the first contest. That people are preparing for their federal runs, and that as voters, we need to prepare to engage in primary so that you are if you are a Democrat or Republican, that you are participating in your party's primaries. And it's going to be a very competitive general election in November.
Mm. Okay.
And I would
So,
just say, if you do it by the numbers, every single member of the House is up for election. 35 U.S. Senate seats are up for election, 36 governorships,
wow.
6,000 state legislative seats, 19,000 city council seats. And so
My God.
26 is a active year.
Huh. So then, rather than leaning into the, are we even going to have a midterms? We should probably be leaning into not only are there going to be midterms, but we are going to show up and show out with such force that we are really going to give the opposition party, and by opposition party, I mean the party in opposition to the current regime, give them the numeric power that they need to actually, I don't know, do some things. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Glenda Carr?
Yeah, and a reminder, like we are in an active democracy. It's a dumpster fire right now, but we're in an active democracy. And I remind you, this will be our 250th birthday as a nation, right? And so you will have to ask your question as a current citizen or resident of this country, or worker, undocumented worker. This is where we reside. This is where we're home. What are we as the people going to do about the people that we elected as the people?
Mm, okay. So we have some obligations and some responsibility here. We have some things that we need to be doing. And I'm saying it that way, Glenda, because I was sharing this with the audience earlier. I'm realizing that the groups of people that were really spreading misinformation and disinformation campaign in the 2024 election, I no longer saw them really as much active on Twitter. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe they disappeared. And maybe they realized this really was a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad decision. And the thing that they helped to help happen, they should not do that again. And maybe they realize that. And then I
Yes,
realized they're
ma'am.
on Instagram. They just move platforms. They just move platforms. And I'm seeing now, as a result of some posts that have gone up, that I've been tagged in, I am seeing now that they're not disappearing. The misinformation and the disinformation campaign workers are I guess maybe they just laid low for a little while, but that is still going to be something we're going to have to contend with. And so I'm wondering how you all at Higher Heights are preparing your members and the women who are looking to you for guidance. What should we be doing in terms of best practices to make sure that this is an election as closely being decided on the merits as possible and not being swayed by these massive bot farming sort of approaches to spreading disinformation such that it ends up creating an environment where we basically start voting against our collectively held interests.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, we saw this yesterday with the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, right? Not only did you have mis and disinformation swirling on social media, our very own media outlets
Right.
were it's interesting. We grew up at a time where if something happened and it was a real-time incident that you would, the news at like our journalists would just give broad-based information. This is all we know now. Like we are
Right.
making up
Right.
information that you could not know at this point because it was only within 24 hours of the incident. That being said, I
Right.
believe there's three things we need to do. And mis and disinformation is continues to swirl,
Mm,
both organically and funded by our opposition, and particularly targeted towards the Black community and Black women because we over-index in social media. We are all micro influencers. I might only post once in a while, but people, my community, my friends are looking at what I'm posting, and they believe if I'm posting or reposting that it's trusted information. So I would say, make sure you are following trusted sources, right? Who
mm,
are your media outlets that you follow? Who are your journalists that you're following? Who are your influencers that you are following?
mm.
Um, we also are targeted and things go into our feed even though we're not following them. So paying attention that you're clicking on something that was put into your feed.
Right.
Fact check. The other day, someone posted someone had died, like some celebrity, like a trusted friend of mine. I was like, oh my God, so I can't remember. Like, oh, he died. And like, I was like, let me go check. So I go over. Oh, I know. They were like, Barry Gordon done died. And then I was like, and so I went and fact checked it. And in fact, my friend had dropped some misinformation and
Mm,
notifying, hey, bro, that information was incorrect. You should take it down.
right.
And then three, we've got to going back to I'm walking into this year as like I'm not gonna let y'all destroy my community, destroy the nation that I live in. I'm
Mm,
going to be an active participant. We need to call them out.
mm,
Letters to the editors, letters to the producers. Like when you see major outlets putting out false information, call them out.
right.
Call out people. We can't be silent in this in 2026, and that each one of us have a role to go identify misinformation, verify information, and then call out when the information is being targeted and incorrect.
Okay. And this is something I'm going to be doing a bit of in the second hour, but don't you worry, we're going to have you out of here before you get besmirched with all of that. So are there any races that you are most excited about or that you think we should be on the alert for? You mentioned Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who has announced she's going to be running for Senate. I like to remind people that she first indicated that that was a path she was going to be taking on this show, the Reed Daniel Favor Show on Sirius XM's Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action, channel 126. But in addition to her race, there are a number of other races that we should probably be a little keyed into. Who are some of the folks that you're excited about? Who are some of the folks you think we need to rally around? Give us the political tea.
Yeah. So next week, Higher Heights is actually hosting on January 14th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. She's Got Next. The Moment Is Ours live stream. And so we are going to be previewing the races, including talking about some of the candidates that our political action committee is supporting. There are Black women running all across this country for statewide office. And so I would call this is a year to protect, defend, and expand.
Mm,
And so to protect and defend. Letitia Tish James is running for reelection at a time where, as you know, I'll let you lawyer on this, is continuing to, I don't at this point know they just continue to try to find things
mm.
and
They
continue
try,
to
they've
have
been
their.
searching high and searching low.
And
They've
then
been
you should have
looking out.
your U.S. attorney should actually be, eligible to participate in
Oh, wait.
like.
Wait, you don't mean Lindsay Halligan, the WEI, white, entitled, and incompetent U.S. attorney who can't even call herself a U.S. attorney anymore, to the point where the courts are like, why are you still calling yourself a U.S. attorney? You are not qualified. We told you was not qualified. That U.S. attorney?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about? Okay.
And so
Okay.
we have some of our champions who are not only being targeted, but they're also up for reelection. So Attorney General Andrea Campbell out of Massachusetts is up for reelection. Letitia Tish James, the New York Attorney General, are up for reelection. It is election time in California, and so the LA Mayor Karen Bass will be running for reelection. Barbara Lee, the mayor of Oakland, have not made an official announcement, but likely will be running for a full term there. All of the women of the Congressional Black Caucus will be running for reelection. Many people have started to retire, and so we're going to see fast campaigns being stood up as we continue to see more members of Congress retire. So last week, Stephen, yesterday, Representative Hoyer in Maryland just announced he's not seeking reelection and will be retiring. That's in Maryland. I
Wow.
can't imagine that there's not going to be women and Black women vying for that open seat. And so there's a lot of open seats. And so we're going to see fast pace. Like you didn't know if it was going to be a competitive race until it's a competitive race. There's two Black women running for U.S. Senate in a primary in Illinois. The current lieutenant governor, Juliana Stratton and Congresswoman Robin Kelly are both vying for that open seat. All of them will be featured on our event next week called She's Got Next. The moment is ours. And so if you want to learn and hear from them, join not only Higher Heights, but come and be engaged in listening to these conversations. There are sit down conversations with each one of these candidates talking about their vision for the democracy, the vision for their state and their district. And so I think it's important for us to listen and hear about the candidates that are vying for not only the votes of the people who can vote for them, but for people across this country who are looking to support candidates.
Mm. This is exciting. And I'm looking forward to that event next week. I was reading about someone had posted that in the state of Texas, for example, there's so much excitement that every single race has a Democratic candidate running, and that has never been done before. And every single race, often we end up with all of these horrible people in office, and they're in office largely because they weren't contested. Nobody was running against them. They just sort of got sort of like y'all's Speaker of the House, y'all's Congressional House, MAGA Mike Johnson. That man ran in a couple of uncontested elections. I literally mean like a couple. Like he does not have a lengthy legislative career, and he was uncontested, and as a result, he has been installed as a puppet for this regime. So in Texas, for the first time, every single election has a Democratic candidate running. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to win all of them. We don't know how many they would win, but the contest is what matters. The injection of ideas and resistance to just a laying down and rolling over and being steamrolled by the opposition. That's what matters to me. And I'm really excited about it, although not excited enough to throw my own hat in the ring, Glinda. I'm really happy to see more and more people. The other day we had Kaya Creekmore, who was running for office young man running for office in North Carolina, District 5. And, he's running up against a longtime incumbent. What is her name? Fox? Veronica Fox? Virginia Fox. Ooh, there goes my microphone. He's running up against Virginia Fox. And, just I'm excited to see it. And again, we don't know how any of these contests are going to end, but we do know if we're not in the fight, there ain't no fight. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. So give us the information one more time, how we can participate in that event that you all are going to be hosting at Higher Heights.
Yep. So it's called hashtag She's Got Next. The moment is ours. If you're following our political action committee, so if you want to know all day, every day about Black women running for office, you should be following us at Higher Height, no S, at Higher Height PAC, PAC. Across all platforms, or you can go to higherheightsforamerica.org, become a member, and you will have all the information about the events we're doing. But it's January 14th next week at 6:30. I would also just mention that there is a special election talking about Texas on January 31st for the historic Barbara Jordan seat, which was then held by Sheila Jackson Lee. And if y'all remember last year, Sheila passed away.
It was just
And then
last
in a
year.
special election,
Oh my God.
the former mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, won that seat and died the day after the State of the Union in Washington. And so that governor, I just want to show this, he died March last year, and they have no representation yet.
My God.
And so they called a very late special election. It wasn't until November. And Texas has runoffs if there's not no, 51, 50 over 50%. And
Mm.
so that runoff is January 31st. And if they will seat that person, because we have precedent about like slow
Right.
seating people, swearing in people, the constituents of Texas Congressional District 18 have it literally has not have representation for a year.
My God. That
And
is
so that's an important election. And so they will be filling the remainder of that seat while we are in the process of running, people are running for the full term. That election is in March.
okay.
It's going to be a confusing year. So
Wait a minute. So
we've got to pay attention.
yes, and by way of paying attention, I want to say this one more time. There is a special election on January 31st to finish out the current term, which was held by Sheila Jackson Lee, then by Sylvester Turner, both of whom are now ancestors. And that term, if had either of them still been on this side of Lurie, that term would have been up for competition in this primary coming up in March. But because they have transitioned, there's nobody in that seat. So with this election coming up in January the 31st, whoever wins that election will be in that seat, assuming they are seated, as Glinda said, until this
January
term
2nd.
ends January
Mhm.
2nd, right? Until of the next year, until this term ends. And in the after they have won this special election, they will then have to go right back into the next election because the primary for the next election starts in March. So, man, that
I just
Greg
want to
Abbott,
add
he
one
played
other
that
piece, but
really
I'll come
well.
back to break this. We should break this down next month. But
Yeah,
also, it's
yeah,
a newly configured seat for the midterms because it was gerrymandered by the redistricting.
that's right.
And so this is all meant to create chaos and confusion. And so I would say, everybody go, I am committing to vote. And I'm going to have to take the time to research and make my vote plan. And at Higher Heights, if you're a Black woman or not, if you are following our hashtag Black Woman Vote campaign, our goal is to help everyone know where to go. We will be a hub for you to be able to make. You're gonna have to make a vote plan this year. You should make it every year, but this is
Yeah.
a year that you've got to know where your poll site, what your IDs you need to have, who are running, when are all your dates, so that we are prepared to take back this democracy.
Mm. I'm excited about what this year brings in so many ways. Not I don't want to say excited like, oh, it's all going to be great, but I'm ready for the fight. I feel like I've been gearing up for the fight. I took a lot of naps over the holiday break, lots of naps, stored up on some sleep, trying to make sure my health patterns are good, my physical food, what I'm eating is good, my mind is clear. Because y'all, we going in because they in, so we gonna go in to do as Glinda said and take back this democracy and actually make it a real one this time, a real one. Glenda, what is the best place for people to go when it comes to connecting with Higher Heights? You guys have a lot of different programs. The Sunday brunches are always amazing for people who want to be more actively engaged with Higher Heights, not necessarily even as a candidate, just with really getting the information that you all share. What is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah. So if you continue, you already do it because you are here at the Lurie Daniel Favor Show, but you want to have information that is trusted, a safe, trusted space. It is at higherheightsforamerica.org. We are your political home. We center Black women's political power and leadership, but we are open and engaged in our community. Welcomes our allies. And if you are thinking about running for office, never don't want to run for office, but you want to support people running for office, if you want to know all things around issues and this democracy, we are your political home at higherheightsforamerica.org. In our Sunday brunch series, we're on hiatus, praise our God for me, until until February because we are designing and planning some really great programming for the new year for Sunday brunch. But as you can see, not void. Come meet us next week, and we will be launching and announcing. We'll do it right here at the Lurie Daniel Favor Show. Is that we will be launching our boot camp series of training the next generation of Black political leaders, and that doesn't mean elected leaders. It means that we're going to be warriors around our politic.
Mm.